Long before the first pages of recorded history were written, North America was already thriving. We often frame the ancient world around stone empires, missing the millions of people who had already built complex communities across this continent. By 10,000 years ago, humans had migrated and settled across nearly every corner of the North American landmass. This map shows the extreme environmental diversity they encountered. You have incredibly dense forests, massive open plains, and complex shifting river networks all coexisting on the same continent. Because of these sharp physical contrasts, there was no single unified language or culture. Thousands of distinct traditions evolved completely independently. The geography itself was the blueprint. Every group had to adapt entirely to the specific demands of their local ecosystem to survive. For those living in the deep woods, communities learned to navigate the freezing temperatures, building heavily insulated shelters to survive, and mastering the art of foraging for roots, nuts, and medicinal plants hidden in the undergrowth. Contrast that with the people out on the open plains. Here, survival meant constant movement. Families adopted highly mobile, nomadic lifestyles, packing up and relocating their entire communities to follow the changing seasons. They tracked massive migrating animals, particularly bison, which provided the overwhelming majority of their caloric intake. Meanwhile, communities settling near the fertile river valleys and large lakes engineered entirely different societies based around aquatic resources, fishing, and steady freshwater access. Everything about a group's daily existence, the food they prepared, the clothes they wore, and the structures they built, was an inescapable reflection of the soil they stood on. The absolute rule of this era was cooperation. No one could survive completely alone against the harsh realities of nature, making the strength of the group the most crucial tool they had. Elders sat at the top of the social structure. They were highly respected as the living libraries of the community, passing down generations of tactical knowledge to younger members. That knowledge was especially vital during the onset of winter, when food sources vanished. Communities relied on intensive food storage methods they had spent the warmer months perfecting. They operated a strict zero-waste economy. Every animal harvested was fully utilized. Meat was preserved, skins were sewn into weather-resistant clothing, and bones were engineered into precision tools. We can clearly see their engineering capabilities in how they manipulated raw stone into these incredibly lethal, aerodynamic hunting implements. Every edge was deliberately shaped. These are specialized inventions, carefully flaked into knives, scrapers, and axes designed for distinct mechanical tasks. These early cultures were active, intelligent participants in their ecosystems. They observed the rules of nature and engineered sophisticated methods to thrive within them. Physical survival eventually gave way to a rich intellectual life. Art, music, and storytelling became essential pillars of their daily routines. This artistic expression frequently focused on the natural world, documenting the exact species that sustained their communities in vivid cave paintings. They carved complex symbols and petroglyphs directly into rock faces to visually map their worldview and preserve generational stories. At the center of their spiritual belief was a simple truth: humans belonged to an interconnected ecological balance. Mountains, rivers, and wildlife all held deep spiritual significance. To honor that balance, they crafted distinct ceremonial objects and held rituals that reinforced community bonds and paid respect to the animals that provided for them. Their entire cultural identity, from their art to their faith, was the direct result of a people who recognized their deep reliance on the natural world. Eventually, generations of accumulating this intense environmental knowledge allowed them to actively alter how they interacted with the land. Instead of moving with the seasons, some communities began establishing permanent, year-round settlements near highly reliable, fertile water sources. Looking at this diagram, we can see how the slow development of agriculture triggered village expansion. As settlements grew, the first regional trade lines began connecting them. These intersecting trade networks allowed physical goods, advanced technologies, and new languages to travel across immense distances. The daily life of ancient America was the vital, brilliant foundation of the continent. Through extreme adaptability and deep cooperation, These early communities built the complex structures that would eventually birth the most remarkable native societies in human history.